Well, I think that the one problem that I really have with the, how do you say, eco-radicals, eco-radical activists, is there's a great deal of hypocrisy. Now, you have many of them travelling, collecting thousands of air miles, not living particularly environmentally friendly lives themselves. And I think there has to be a discussion about the likes of Insulate Britain, Extinction Rebellion. I do think that they are anti-democracy organisations, many of them all too often blocking working class commuters from getting to work, blocking newspaper printing sites as well, which I think is deeply anti-democratic, and many of them causing a great deal of economic damage. And I think that in some cases, particularly in London, blocking access for ambulances on key road routes. So I think that we do have to clamp down on that.
I think the issue we have here, Precious, is not the cause, because we can debate that on another day, but this is not how we do business in this country. We're a democracy. We've got parliament. We've got elections. Yeah. If you're willing to glue your hand to the motorway over climate change, well, what about child poverty?
Well, this is the thing. I mean, as I said, peaceful protesting is something that we should be encouraging. But anything to do with vandalism or causing problems where there's not necessarily needed to be, just trying to make your point, but don't cause more unnecessary issues. Because for me, vandalising property, where does that go from? Where do you go from there? What kind of point are you trying to make? I don't think that they're doing anything in a positive way.
Well,
and
that's
nobody
right.
listens when you're violent. When you speak, as you said, when you vote, when you do the right things, people listen. But when you're stopping cars in the middle of the street and they can't get to the parents can't take their children to school.
Or an ambulance can't get through.
Or an ambulance can't get through to go and save someone's life. What are you doing? You're causing more issues than we need in society right now. So I don't believe in... If it's not peaceful, I don't want to hear it, see it, or have anything to do with it.
Well, I think what's foolish about it is that it will set the environmental cause back, and I think that's the greatest concern. And that's the great irony, is that people that are potentially, and I think most British people are open-minded about cleaning up the environment. We don't want to pollute, and we certainly don't want to hand the world, in a worse state than we found it. But these sorts of campaigns will alienate the public and possibly get some people to harden their position against the cause.
Exactly, because as I said, you're being violent and you're being loud and you're being angry. People won't listen. When someone yells at you, you don't listen. When someone talks calmly to you and actually tells you the issue and you deal with it properly, then it's a positive thing.
So, Precious Muir, you'll remember that footage a year ago of protesters on the M25 with their hands glued to the road, and there were cops saying, "Are you okay? Would you like a drink?" Yeah. Almost, it was like a bit of a tour guide situation.
Because they're worried about the repercussions of their actions. The police have been getting such a bad, stigma in the press worldwide. So they have to be conscious.
So
of
you're
what
thinking
they do.
Post George Floyd,
all
of the rest of it.
As a police officer, you're thinking, what is the repercussions of my actions right now? If I don't check in with this person and make sure that they know that I've said, how are you doing? What are you doing? It then shows that I'm being a caring, considerate police officer.
What would you do?
If he'd have just grabbed him or her and just threw her at him, do you know what that would be in the newspapers' headlines the next day?
And the inquiry.
I mean, it's just, they have to be careful.
What would you do? How would you...
Well, I certainly wouldn't drive into
protesters.
those protesters.
Right, you wouldn't drive into them, OK.
Which some people have done.
Yeah.
Yes. Lady lost her licence over it.
OK, so those things you don't do, but I certainly wouldn't have been so nice to them because, I mean, at the end of the day, they're causing issues and that doesn't need to be done. They could have done it in a different way. The police officers are trying to do their job, right? So they're basically there to protect the people and protect the public. And they've just caused more issues.
And asking them if they would like a drink or if they're all right was...
I wouldn't have done that.
Offering them a prawn sandwich.
No way.
I don't think so.
Remove them immediately.
Jenny, I mean, I think what we need is possibly a more robust law against this. And this is... We must protect protesting, but if you break the law, it should be enforced, surely.
We're in a country where we're allowed freedom of speech, and freedom of speech is to be protected. But on the other hand, if a couple of my friends and I sat down in the road, we would be picked up by the police and removed because we were stopping traffic. Now, why are these protesters not treated in the same way. I don't understand.
Or smashing the windows of major bank
Then they
headquarters.
should be made to pay for it.
Yeah, the police-
If they stick themselves to somewhere, they're doing damage.
What a brilliant!
They
But of
should
course,
be made to
a
pay.
lot of them can pay for it because they're all middle-class numpties. They're all on an endless year off. Trustafarians, they call them.